out to greet us, others were standing there in utter disbelief. I'm really shocked by the British media, George, because this was a staggering achievement. This was the first boat to enter Gaza since 1967, more than 40 years. And it was a historic event which was greeted all around the Arab world. It's a shame that the Western media have to play catch-up as usual.
Tell us how bad the conditions now are in the Gaza Strip.
Oh, it's sickening, George. The infrastructure shattered. Hospitals are in vital need of their parts for life-saving equipment. Even the rubbish collections have been disturbed because they've run out of parts from the machine. So there's literally men going around with tiny donkey carts to collect the rubbish. But despite all of this, despite the brutality of the siege in which Israel controls their water and power supplies, the Gazan people are getting stronger by the day. They are absolutely amazing, incredibly resilient. But the one thing that has happened since the takeover last year, crop is down by 88%. And I said to the mayor of Gaza, you have to come to London because the streets of London aren't as safe as the ones in Gaza, and tell the new mayor here how to do it.
So the morale of the people is still high despite this enormous suffering.
It's unbelievable, George. The Palestinians are a rare breed of people, and I think the harder you squeeze them, the tougher they get, the more determined they get. And that just isn't the men, this is the women, and the women are usually the ones that suffer most, but they are all incredibly strong. And, I sat with the Deputy Prime Minister in his home a couple of nights ago, and we were in candlelight. And I think the very fact that government ministers are in the same boat as their own people, and there's solidarity throughout, the suffering is equally distributed and shared. I think that this also helps the people. The elite class or the upper class is no longer there. Everybody is pulling together.
Well, of course, if this news that you bring us about the Israeli stance on humanitarian ships arriving at Gaza turns out to be accurate, then there's no reason why the kings and the presidents of the Arab world don't set up a mighty armada of humanitarian ships to take everything that the besieged Palestinians are lacking into the territory right away. Is there any sign of that?
I really don't know, but I have said, it's about time we had Arab boats following the Free Gaza and the Liberty, and that the Arab League, has endorsed this journey, but they should now back up this mission with more action and send in boats themselves. This is a tremendous breakthrough. The other thing that we got, George, and this will make you pea green with envy, yesterday Ismail Haniyeh, the Prime Minister in Gaza, came to send us off, and he issued each one of us with a Palestinian passport. That they are the ambassador's passports, and he said we are now ambassadors for Palestine.
Wow, that's fantastic. Once more, Yvonne, many congratulations. May God speed your return. You're an absolute star, and we're all extremely proud of you. I'll be back giving my take on a topic that's fired me up right after this.
Ow! Just the way you move, it's a real deal. And the way you groove, it's the way I feel, yeah. You're a wild thing and you're a natural star. Got me crazy about the way you are. you're the real deal.
Now this is Fighting Talk, where I take on an issue or a person who has riled or enraged me this week. And this week, it's a battle between me and David Miliband. Not since Rocky Marciano flattened Don Cockell has there been a mismatch like it. This overgrown schoolboy, this posturing peacock, this popinjay, this public school prat went to Ukraine, which is a country divided 50-50 between Russian-speaking people and Ukrainian-speaking people, but where, incidentally, 75% of the population does not approve of Ukraine joining NATO, in order to strike up a confrontation with a mighty country on which our own economy is increasingly dependent. Just what's in it for Britain to be picking a fight with Russia? We are the most belligerent party in the whole world, including the United States, which is about to change president, by the way, in this confrontation over Georgia with Russia. And why? What does South Ossetia have to do with us? What is David Miliband playing at? I'll tell you what he's playing at. He thinks his posturing, his George Bush-style swinging of his fists, is going to help propel him into the Prime Minister's chair in Britain. And I think if there was ever any question of him becoming the Prime Minister of Britain, he's buried that prospect over the last few days with this ludicrous, aggressive and belligerent behavior on which he's been engaged in relation to the Ukraine. So, take one from me, a Rocky Marciano, David Miliband. It's been marvelous. See you next week. God willing, may you go in peace.